Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Erin. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new here. Today we have a new moon in Aquarius, first new moon of 2023. So I will be doing a pick a card reading for you today. I have 3 groups for you. You can go ahead and pick by the card you can see, by the number, by the sound of my voice, group 1, group 2, or group 3. When you're ready, all the timestamps are below, and I will see you at the reading that you chose. Hi everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 1. So as a reminder, this is a new moon reading. So I'll be reading the cards in that way in terms of like new energy, new things to focus on, all those vibes, okay? So I'll pick the card, I find a deeper meaning and personal growth amid the discomfort. Wow, how beautiful. So this is a good reminder that we're not spiritually bypassing anything here. We're not romanticizing hardship or like when we have challenging times in our life, like absolutely not. But if there is something discomfort or there is something that doesn't feel good, like that is a sign for us to go inward and see what's going on with ourselves, right? Because when we're in our comfort zone, when everything is totally how we like it, we know how everything's going, we're not growing, right? And so obviously that's a great place to have safety. It's a great place to feel grounded. We need stability in our lives as humans, but sometimes we can't grow in certain ways unless we are feeling discomfort, we are feeling uncomfortable. And obviously, like we don't want to get to the point that it's like complete and total shutdown and I can't do anything. And, we don't want to get like to that point, but discomfort is usually a sign for us that there's something going on. There's some emotional state for us to look inward and say, okay, what's really going on with myself? What's really happening here? What do I need to turn inward and see? What's happening, with all of these ways. So I find a deeper meaning and personal growth amid the discomfort. And this isn't spiritual bypassing. I don't believe in spiritual bypassing. It's not helpful, even if it's helpful in the moment and gets you results you want, it doesn't generally help long term. Okay, but so this is a reminder that when we do feel discomfort, it could just be, well, maybe I just need to be more gentle with myself. Maybe I need to be more patient with myself. Maybe I need to be more kind to myself, right? That can be the personal growth, not like the, oh, I'm so bad for having this emotion or thinking I need to deal with this thing again, or I haven't healed this particular issue, right? So it's not about like shaming yourself or just being, like personal growth can come from a place of like gentleness, right? Being more gentle to yourself than you have been is personal growth. It's sometimes we get confused because in this capitalistic world we live in, we're told all the time that like personal growth is only like if I hit this tangible goal that's based on like growth and like quantitative growth and just climbing to the top and doing all this stuff. Like obviously, we want to feel better, we want to grow and push ourselves outside our comfort zone. But, personal growth can be, was I more kind to myself? Was I more gentle? Was I more patient? And also to other people, right? Do I have more clear boundaries within myself? Do I understand myself in a new way? All of those things are personal growth and deeper meanings that aren't spiritually bypassing, right? This isn't like love and light, like, oh, I had to find the personal meaning of like, I could just be okay with anything no matter what happens. That's not personal growth, right? That's like excusing behaviors. And when we actually need to turn inward and be like, well, why can't I be more patient with myself? Or why am I taking responsibility for someone else's bad behavior, right? So I find a deeper meaning and personal growth amid the discomfort is a reminder, that when we are uncomfortable, that means we have moved outside of our comfort zone. And so there's something going on there, right? It could just be that you just need to be, again, more patient, more kind, more loving with yourself. Could be another meaning. It could be, okay, I've learned this lesson enough times. I finally get it now. I'm really ready to like embody different energy. Because a lot of times we understand something with our mind before we really like internalize it and can act in a new way. And so it's okay if you need to be patient with yourself, all of that. But just with this new moon in Aquarius, just thinking about, what are some areas in your life that you can give yourself some more like grace and compassion and understanding? And what are some ways that like, okay, this thing served me for this certain amount of time, but as I continue to grow and change as a human, I know I need to be different. And so what am I going to do to be different? And, what's the deeper meaning here with this situation? And also sometimes the deeper meaning is to let something mean nothing, okay? For those of us who tend to be really reflective and really analytical and always want to do our best and always want to reflect and be better and do all that, right? Sometimes we just have to let things mean nothing and then like, move on with our lives and go to the place that like keep moving forward, right? So sometimes the deeper meaning is there is no deeper meaning and that's it. So that's also it could just be a thing that happened or a chapter of your life or something that was going on, and now it's not anymore, and that's it. So yeah, I find a deeper meaning in personal growth amid the discomfort. Okay, if you've been on my channel for a while, I just want to say thank you so much for watching these readings, for coming back, for people who leave comments. It's so sweet. They really touch my heart every time. I am going to, I normally pre-pick my cards. I don't look at them in advance, but I just have them laid out. I did that for Oracle cards today, but I am going to just pull some tarot cards right live on the video. Okay, I haven't done that previously, except in like the angel number and the shorter readings, but I am going to do that now for these readings. So I am going to look at your tarot. Okay, group one. Okay, so this first round of this, you guys got the Five of Cups, the Empress, and the Ace of Swords. So I feel like this is really saying to me that, growth can come with sadness. It can come with like some loss. It can come with like when we bloom into this next version of ourselves, when we change into this next version of ourselves, right? And not everything can come with us every time. And so that requires like some loss and some sadness and releasing and letting things go. But what's on the other side of that is like this you that's like waiting to come out, this you that's waiting to be born, this you that's waiting to like, again, this Empress energy, just like really own your truth of who you are and really like be reborn into like this creative energy. The Empress energy is like mother energy, not just for children, but for like creative projects, for the next layer of your life, for this next thing you want to do and go and expand into, right? So this is really saying to me, if you're like, well, how can I be growing if this feels so sad, if it feels so hard, if it feels so, like painful? And there is a lot of pain with growth, right? When we release things, when we are required to be different, we're required to be someone than we previously were, it can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like not the best thing in the world, right? To say it lightly, if you're going through that, I'm sending you a lot of love. And just remember that this is just one chapter of your life. You will get through it. Things will change. But there is pain and discomfort and difficulty with growth. It's like, we can get really excited and be like, I'm going to grow, I'm going to change, I'm so excited, right? And then once we get in the process, and that is required of us is letting things go, is letting things not come with us, setting boundaries, right? That's where it can get a little upsetting, maybe looking at the truths of things that we weren't looking at before. Okay, but what I'm hearing with that too, with this Ace of Swords that came out, is that's all a gift and that's all important and it's all necessary. And it is a reminder to, just let yourself grow in the ways that you need to and trust that you can set the boundaries that you need to along the way. So this isn't about like, I can't grow because I need to have everything figured out all right away. You don't, okay? Like if that was the case, no one would ever grow ever, because there's sometimes where we don't even realize we're growing and we don't even realize it. So this Ace of Swords is a reminder that, because this is in the beginning of the sword suit, like you can set boundaries along the way. You can figure out what works and what doesn't work for you along the way. You don't just have to, know exactly how everything's going to go right away and be like, okay, look, I did it at the end. Like that's it, So this is a reminder that if you are feeling sadness or discomfort or pain, that is part of the growth cycle. It doesn't mean that, you're doing something wrong or everything should feel great and amazing all the time. That's not realistic. It's not the human experience. It's just something that's fed to us. So we can, indulge in and consumerism and numbing out and avoiding ourselves and all of that. So, yeah. Okay, let's see what else we have for you. Okay, next we have the Page of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, and the Nine of Cups. So I feel like, I'm hearing that saying like you take one step towards God, God takes 10 steps towards you. Okay, so this is really saying like if you are brave enough to, explore something new, take one step out of your comfort zone, just start down the path that you can feel that you're being like nudged along, even if you don't want to be. Okay, that's the Wheel of Fortune, like the hands of fate and God's wonderful, amazing ability to give us circumstances and situations that serve us. Those things are just going to start happening, right? It's like when we just take one little step out of our comfort zone, when we try one new thing, those things add up. We meet someone who can help us what we're trying to do, or we realize, oh, this place of my growth does feel better for me. And we never know what can happen when we are willing to just look at this one thing and try one thing differently. instead of just being like, oh no, I can't do anything, I can't, whatever. So this Page of Wands is a reminder that it is possible for you to do your little part, just take one next right action, right? You don't have to overthink. You don't have to, say, well, what am I going to do in 5 months from now? You'll figure it out when you get there, right? Like you always have. And so just a reminder, especially like with this Aquarius energy, with this new moon, Aquarius energy is about like, doing something outside of the norm, like not following like the very strict rules of humanity and society and all of that. And so Page of Wands can be a reminder, like if you just take one step different, you're not really sure how you're going to get to there, just move along the path. And there's so many surprises for you. There's so many things that you couldn't predict that are for you. There's so many things that are going to help you and assist you along the way. You're going to get divine intervention. You're going to get guidance. You're going to meet the right people, right? Sometimes, we meet people who are a little challenging, which we're not going to romanticize here, right? But it's up to you to get out of your comfort zone and do one thing different. And then that's when things start to add up and you see changes and things coming together and all of that. Because look at this beautiful Nine of Cups energy. I love the Nine of Cups. This is just, again, a reminder that like you can have wishes fulfilled. And a lot of times it's fulfilled by things that maybe we wouldn't necessarily think that we want for ourselves, right? Because we think, okay, in my limited lens, my understanding of my life, these are the things I want. This is what feels good to me. This is what I think is the right thing for me. But luckily, God is way smarter than us. And so we're given what we need and not what we want sometimes. Sometimes those match, sometimes they don't. But I feel like the energy I'm really getting from these cards is like, if you just take one little step and do the things you can control and focus on yourself, the things that will be brought to you and the things that are matched to you, like those things are going to fulfill you so much. And sometimes we don't know how much something's going to fulfill us because we didn't even know it existed, right? Could be a person we didn't know existed, a group of people, I don't know, like a support group, a certain exercise, a location even, right? We don't know anything. We know some stuff. We don't know everything about the world and what's going on all the time. So this is a reminder that, just take one little step and everything, there's going to be so many things that work together to bring you to the other side, to get you to the other side, to support you in your journey. And, as long as you keep going along the path, it's like in every like hero's journey or all the movies or books or any stories like that, right? Like these people just wander down the paths that they can in front of them. And that's when they meet like, this messenger, this random person, or they come into contact with this other whatever, and like those things that they didn't even know exist if they hadn't ever left their home and took step foot on that journey and like pushed themselves, like they wouldn't have touched any of that stuff. So what do you need just to take one little step out of your comfort zone? Was one thing you need to do differently, like one email, one phone call, go to one class, go to one support group, reach out to one person, right? Like what's one thing you need to do to just get that momentum going? Because you never know like what's going to happen from there. Okay, and then the last group of tarot cards I picked for you guys, or that came out, is Justice, King of Swords, and Two of Wands. So Justice and King of Swords, these are both really mature energies. So I feel like with this Justice card, a lot of times, okay, if you feel like you had to have discomfort in your life based on things that were not your choosing or not your fault, I feel you, I hear you, I see you. That happens to so many of us, including me. And sometimes we can get really, really focused on that. And so we can be like, well, how could anything ever replace this? How could whatever, right? But you just have to remember, maybe you've heard the saying, right? If you can imagine something that you thought was so good for you being taken away, imagine what God can bring to you to replace that. And obviously we can't replace things like specifically, but we can be fulfilled and feel connection by things that, maybe we hadn't before. So I feel this justice is like, you'll be shown why, is just what I'm hearing, right? You'll be shown why. You'll be like, sometimes we think, oh my God, nothing's happening, whatever. But when we're like along the path, in the middle of the path, we can't see what's over the hill, or we can't see what's coming, or we can't see this next thing for us. We just get so focused on, why isn't this thing here yet? And I lost this other thing and it feels so bad and blah, 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 right? But so this is just, I feel like it's energy of like evening out and calming down. And then that King of Swords, that's like this more advanced from the Ace of Swords we pulled, and just really like, okay, I'm a master of my boundaries. I know myself more, right? Sometimes with discomfort, we don't know, we're uncomfortable because we're not sure what our boundaries are, not because we're bad or stupid or anything like that, but just we didn't know. Sometimes we don't know we have a certain boundary until like that it gets crossed, or until we have this experience that shows us, oh, this is actually a boundary I need to have in my life, right? So this King of Swords is really just a reminder, like you do get better, like things don't get easier, you just get better. You get more clear, you put up with less BS, you are more willing to be like, nope, this isn't for me, like the end. And you mature as you practice with that. So if it feels like nothing, it feels like everything you're doing, how do I say this? If it feels like nothing's working and everything is in vain, okay, that's I didn't want to mix those two up, but I just want to remind you that it's not. These things add up, and these small subtle shifts add up and take time, and things change, and just trust the momentum you're building with that. Because look at this last tarot card you guys have, this Two of Wands, which is really about like choice. And again, the literal world in the hands, right? So this is about choice. This is about knowing like I can pick the right things for me. I can have a different choice. I can have, all of this. And a lot of times, once we do the inner work, sometimes we can get frustrated because it's like, well, all the stuff is happening on the inside, nothing's happening on the outside, right? When we do the inner work, then that's when physical reality changes after that. Sometimes our situations don't change so that we're forced to change inwardly. And so this Two of Wands is a reminder that like, as you continue along the path, you're going to have more choices than you ever realized, because again, you didn't even know they were your choices, because you were just in like this one little section, but you need to grow and change into this whole big thing that's given to you. Okay, I'm going to look at your oracle cards. Okay, so we have first heart opening to the divine. So this is to me about surrendering, which like that's everyone's favorite advice, right? Just kidding, it's not, right? When you think you've surrendered, it's time to surrender more. When you think, oh, I've done everything I can do, I let go of control, but things still aren't changing, it's time to surrender even more. Okay, so heart opening to the divine, this is really about like, how much faith you have in God is how much you're willing to let go, how much you're willing to release things. Okay. And so heart opening to the divine is a reminder that, when you can feel really lost and alone and like, this is so uncomfortable, I don't want to do it. It's like, how much do I really trust God? How much do I really have faith in God? It's so fun and easy to be like, I have faith in God and everything's fine, right? But when we actually have to do that, when we actually have to build our faith muscle, right? That's when it doesn't feel the best. It's just like working out. Like in the workout, it's like, oh, it's so hard, I don't want to do it. Then it ends, endorphins, boom, great. I feel so great. That was worth it, right? It's just sometimes with the building the faith muscle, sometimes the endorphins, we'll say, they can take a little longer to come out and come through for us, and that's okay. But again, just keep your heart open, have faith, surrender. These things it's really hard to let go of our attachments as humans. It's just part of being a human. Okay, and then we have what do we want to say? Which one do we want to do first? So okay, we have take time for yourself, which is the tulip flower. Enjoy relaxation activities that nurture your soul. So sometimes when we are feeling uncomfortable, or we're going through this change, or things around us are all changing, it's really easy to just be like, I just want to fix this. I want this discomfort to be over. I just want to get to the other side. Right. And sometimes, we don't have the mental space to enjoy ourselves, and that's okay. Take the time you need, feel sad, be upset, all of that. But this is a reminder that as you are moving along this path, right, the amazing thing about being a human is we can like know ourselves, and we can get deeper in our relationship with ourselves over and over and over and over again, like for our whole lives. It's amazing. If we're willing, like our soul we can know ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper and for like our whole life. And so take time for yourself as a reminder that like, you don't have to rush through this process. There's always going to be the next growth. There's always going to be the next thing. There's always going to be the next way to grow and change. And so make sure you're being present. Make sure you're enjoying your life. Like, now is only going to be now once. And even if you wish for it to end, like, that's fine. There's certain chapters in my life that I'm like, I can't wait for this to be over. Okay, that's just reality. But take time for yourself as a reminder that you can give yourself some like joy and understanding, and like just, can you find a little happiness in these day-to-day things? Okay, and then we have the Angel Prince of the West. I create the reality around me with thoughts of pure love and goodness. So again, I don't believe in I create the reality in terms of we're more powerful than God, or we can control other people, right? But this is just with thoughts of pure love and goodness. So I think, sometimes we can be like, why is this happening to me? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to whatever? I think this really goes back to the beginning of, I find a deeper meaning in personal growth amid the discomfort, right? So, and let these cards even match. Beautiful. So I think, if you want to journal or reflect or think about it and just say like, okay, if I was seeing myself in my life through the eyes of God or my angelic beings or my ancestors or people on the other side or whatever you believe in that you feel like is spiritually supporting you, what would I think they would say to me about the situation? Okay, so again, sometimes it's just about like telling a new story, kind of looking at it in a new way, and obviously like you're not going to believe something that's like on the complete other end of the spectrum, right? So just move it a little bit so it still hits a little bit, still, makes sense for you a little bit, but you don't need to like, be like, I accept everything that ever happens to me, right? It could just be like, this is a time in my life for me to accept humility, accept I'm not in control in certain ways I thought I was, and to like develop more kindness and gentleness to myself, right? Sometimes hardship is just, the only point of it is to get through it, right? It's just to survive it. It's just to get to the other side, like give ourselves a hug and be like, I did it, I got through it, and now I can go on to the next thing in my life. Okay, and we're gonna end with one affirmation card for you guys. Group 1. I am beautiful and everybody loves me. I love this card. And I think this is just, again, if we've been burned or had been heartbroken or had like unhelpful, unkind experiences, it's easy to just be like, I'm not trusting anyone, I'm not whatever, right? But I'm beautiful is a reminder that like you have good intentions, you have a pure heart, you're doing the work to do that. And so you don't need to doubt that like, people are attacking you because there's something wrong with you, right? So I am beautiful is a reminder you're doing that. Everybody loves me is a reminder that there are people in this world who do have good intentions for you, who are kind, who do just want you to be happy, because they like seeing other kind people feel good about themselves too. So I'm beautiful and everyone loves me. Just notice if you say that to yourself, like if it helps you relax a little bit, trust other people, be open to new things as you're growing and changing. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 2. So as a reminder, this is a new moon in Aquarius reading. So I'll be reading the cards in that way in terms of like new moon energy. So you all pick the card, I am the dreamer of my dream. This is a beautiful message. I feel like it's a reminder of 2 things. The first is that, the dreams that we have that are placed in our hearts, the things we want to do, the things we feel called to do, as long as we've done the inner work to realize that they're not just like a void filler or a distraction or a way for us to like avoid feeling connected to ourselves. As long as that's not the case, we have to remember that like God puts these desires in our hearts for a reason. It's not to like tease us or to punish us or like, dangle this thing in front of us. Like you want this, but it's never going to happen, right? We're given the ability to dream because like the soul wants to expand, right? On a spiritual level, the soul wants to expand. It wants to know itself. And it does that through doing different things, trying different things, expressing itself in different ways. So I'm the dreamer of my dream is a reminder that you have these dreams for a reason. Again, we need to be responsible for ourselves and say, okay, am I doing this for like an escapist reason? Or am I doing it just to, not just to, but am I doing it so that I can expand, so I can know myself more, so my soul can continue to grow and change? And if you are, like, that's worth looking at and, examining like, okay, I'm the dreamer of my dream. So what is my dream? And obviously, sometimes we can do our best guess to say, this is the dream I have, this is what I want to do. But then life happens. And so we like fine tune it a little bit more, right? Or we decide something different, or, we think, well, this was the best choice I could make, but now I'm going to do something different, right? So sometimes we don't give up on our dreams, but they just shift and change a little bit depending on life circumstances or new information, or we know ourselves a little bit more, right? But again, a reminder, like these dreams you have them for a reason. It's not for you to like feel like, oh, I want this thing, but it's never going to happen, right? It's just like, it's for expansion. It's for us to be guided and grow and change and get on these new levels of things. And so remembering that, like, it's healthy to dream. It's good to dream. It's good to think big for yourself. Because the soul, again, wants to express itself, and not just through like art, but through like whatever your dreams are, however you want to grow and change, however you want to live your life on this earth, right? I'm the dreamer of my dream. And then the other message I'm hearing is I'm the dreamer of my dream, in terms of like, you are the dreamer of your dream, right? So we have these, like, if we can go inward, we have these dreams and goals and visions for ourselves. But something else about that is that we have these dreams, but we also have stories that we tell ourselves, right? These are the things that run in our mind. These are like how what things we believe about the world, things we believe about ourselves, about relationships, about, whatever. And those stories, when we're dreaming our dreams, when we expand, we have to update those. We have to change them. We have to, it doesn't happen overnight. We can't just be like, let's say, I don't know, you're having, you want to change your story about money, right? So you can't just be like, I'm scared of money, I don't deserve money, I have to work really hard to get everything I want, right? That to like, I'm a millionaire overnight, right? That's too big of a jump, right? But it can be like, I deserve to be fairly compensated for the work I do, or the gifts I have are valuable and it's okay for me, and I deserve to, I'm worthy of getting financial exchange for what I offer. Okay. So when we have these stories, we have to tell ourselves, as we grow into these next things, our stories have to change and update too. So I'm the dreamer of my dream is a reminder that as your dreams expand, you have to change the way you speak about yourself and the things you believe and how you understand the world. A lot of times it's like the stories get a little more nuanced, that you understand yourself a little bit more, you understand the world a little bit more, there's more clarity there, right? So I'm the dreamer. My dream is just a reminder that there are things that um happen, that it is important for us to um we have to examine the stories we're telling ourselves. And the certain stories, it's not to shame yourself and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever believed that, right? It's what we believed at the time. We either absorbed it, or it was the best we could do, or it was what we were exposed to, right? But then again, as we continue to grow and change, it's important to check in with ourselves and be like, okay, what can I do differently? How am I differently? What is going on here with these things? So I'm the dreamer of my dream. Remember, you do have a choice in the stories you're telling yourself to a certain degree. Like, we're not going to act like intrusive thoughts and mental health and some of these things aren't factors, right? But this is just the things that feel comfortable to you and that you're able to do, right? Like, so sometimes for a lot of us, the stories we need to change are more of like offering ourselves like, I can do it, just I believe in myself, I can go at a pace that's right for me. I trust my intentions, I'm worthy of these certain things. So it's a lot of times it's offering ourselves more gentleness, kindness, and softness than anything else with these new stories. Okay, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you. I want to say also, if you have been on my channel before, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who watches my videos, who subscribes, who likes, who comments, anything. It really means a lot to me. And I'm really grateful for, anyone who takes the time to watch this and leave some comments and all of that. Normally, again, if you've been on my channel before, I have the cards pre-picked for these like longer readings for the new and full moon, but I want to try something new this year where I pull the cards live for you, not the oracle cards, because my table, I don't have enough space for all the decks, but for the tarot cards, I'm going to pull them live for you guys and read them in that way. So here we go. Okay, so we have 5 of Pentacles, 4 of Cups, and 4 of Wands. So yeah, I feel like the main message I guess from this right away is like, anything worth having is worth the discomfort that it takes to get there. Anything worth having is worth the annoyingness it takes to get there, the growth we have to get there, right? We can be really excited and be like, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to have happen, this is the thing for me, right? But then when it starts to get hard, or we get pushback, or there's obstacles, we think like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore, right? But the more we stay on the path, the more we realize like, obstacle can just be a detour in the right direction. It doesn't have to be like the end of the world. When we keep going with that, when we push through adversity, when we stay consistent, even when we don't want to, that's when things really start to change for us. Okay, so this 5 of Pentacles, the first thing, whenever this comes out in my readings, the first thing I always hear is like, take yourself in from the cold, right? So there's a lot of things that we do that, just to survive, the human experience. We can like disown part of ourselves, or we think this part of me isn't good enough or whatever. But this is a reminder, like it's time for you to, offer yourself some love and care and just like be gentle with yourself. So really looking at, what are the parts of myself that I've kind of like not been the kindest to, I've not reached out to, I've not whatever, and what can I do to like give myself a little bit more love and compassion and kindness around that? Because then we have the Four of Cups. So I think if there's some resistance around that, that's okay. Again, it's part of the human experience. When we think about the dream of my dream, when we have to be different to get to a new layer of our lives, there's typically always resistance there, because it's like, I don't want to change. I don't want to grow. I don't want to go out of my comfort zone, especially the older we get, we kind of have to push ourselves a little bit more. But this is a reminder that there is so much waiting for you if you are willing to look at yourself and be like, okay, what can I do differently? What do I want to do differently? How can I get, into these growing and changing things? Because again, this Four of Wands, beautiful. This is like, getting to the next layer, the next level. So a lot of times, when we do want to upgrade our dreams, like with this card we saw, it does take us looking at ourselves and examining ourselves and being like, okay, what parts of myself, like, do I need to pull back in from the cold? What things am I resisting about myself, about the truth, about whatever? And like, that's not to shame you, right? We can only go at the pace we can go at, which is totally fine. That's how things get done. That's how we change. That's how we grow. But this is a reminder that like when you do all that work, it is worth it to integrate those things, to, tell a new story about ourselves, to be kind and compassionate to ourselves. All of those things are very important to get to the other side. Okay, then we have, I was laughing because we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, and the Star. Okay, so this is really beautiful energy. So I feel like group 2, it's time for you to get going on something. I don't know what, but this Knight energy is about like forward motion. It's about, making things happen. It's about deciding to do something different and be different. And that doesn't mean, you go 0 to 100. I'm going to change my whole life overnight, right? But it's that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You know what? That's true. That is really true. Okay. And I'm also hearing that saying that people overestimate what they can do in a year. No, what they can, hold on. Let me get this right. People overestimate what they can do in a day, and they underestimate what they can do in a year. Okay, so this is a reminder that, every day, one day at a time, committing to something, one small thing every day, or a few times a week, or whatever, depending on what you're trying to do. All of those things add up, and that's actually how we build our self-esteem. When we have like long-term self-esteem about ourselves, it's when we see that we can commit to something and keep showing up and doing it, even on the days we don't feel like it, even on the days when we feel like nothing's happening, even on whatever, right? It's every once in a while we'll have like this spurt of energy or this inspiration to be like, I'm going to do this huge giant thing, right? And sometimes that happens, but it's these small things that we commit to every day that really rewire our brain to see ourselves in like a kind, loving, passionate way. Okay, so this Knight of Pentacles is, just get started. Just take the first step. Just do one thing. Just tell the story just a little bit differently. Give yourself a little bit of compassion, right? And then what happens from that is this Knight of Wands, which is like, this is, look at this horse versus this horse, right? There's more momentum there. There's more growth. There's more changing. And so this Knight of Wands is about just like, okay, what can I do to keep moving forward, to keep expanding myself, and just trusting that, again, like this momentum builds up, these things continue to just add up, they change, like the more you show up for yourself. And so time is going to go by anyway, and so the more you can commit to just doing like one small tiny promise you can keep to yourself, you add those up, like all of that thing changes for you. And then we have the Star, which is really like nurturing, soothing energy. And so a lot of times we tell these new stories about ourselves, but also doing something different, having a different action, that gives us so much soothing energy and nourishing energy too, right? Showing ourselves like, I can commit to this certain thing for 30 days in a row. I did it, right? It's really nourishing to keep promises to ourselves, to, and again, nothing like, if you don't, let's say like your goal is to run a marathon. Okay. If you don't run it or walk at all, just say, I'm going to walk like 1 block every single day. I'm going to walk 1 mile every day. I'm going to, start small and build up. And if your ego is like, that's too small of a goal, but you're not doing it at all. Okay. Let's check in there. Be like, okay, well, let me let me do it for 30 days before I criticize this goal when I'm not even doing anything right now. Okay, so the star card, I think, is just a reminder that it can be really nourishing when we, as we do actions that prove to ourselves that we respect and care about ourselves, that's when our self-concept can change too. Again, it is about like telling a new story and, offering yourself grace and love and compassion, but it is also about showing up for yourself and taking care of yourself, especially when you don't want to. That's usually when, that's when the changes can be the most meaningful, when we continue to take care of ourselves in that way. Okay, then this last set of 3 cards that came out for you guys is the Tower, 3 of Pentacles, and the Hanged Man. So, okay. I feel like the other message I'm getting for this very clearly, very clearly, is this 3 of Pentacles is about leaning on community support, okay? So don't do everything on your own, ask for help. If you need to go to a support group or like read a message board or whatever, like connect with real people. You have to do your own work, but don't get to the point where you think that like, oh, I don't need to rely on other people or connect with other people or share with them, right? None of us ever reach that point. Where as humans, we're built for interdependence. We're built to connect with other people and all of that. And so I think like whether you are in the state where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, everything's falling down, it doesn't feel good, like my whole life is being swept away, right? Or in this place, the other extreme of like, I just can't do anything, nothing's happening, everything's staying the same, it's plateaued, it's totally whatever, I have no agency in this situation. In both of these situations, the 3 of Pentacles is about like working with a team. It's about relying on other people. It's about using other people not using other people, but using support from other people to keep growing. And so I feel like, if you're nervous about reaching out to someone, but whatever you're trying to do, there are communities of people who have already done it or have gone through a similar experience. And so whatever's going on, reaching out for help and support, being too independent, being hyper independent, that's the opposite of codependency. And so for you to reach out to people, to connect to them, to try to make something happen for you, this is like really what's going to help you with that. So what I'm hearing is, when you're the dreamer of your dream group too, and you're trying to change things and do all of that, don't forget to ask for help no matter what stage of your life you're in. We always need help as humans. We always need love and care. We always need community, right? A lot of this capitalistic, imperialistic, white supremacy, patriarchal, all of that stuff, right, tells us like rugged individualism is the answer. It's pretty much never the answer, right? No one can do it for you. You have to do your own stuff, but it's important for you to get love and care and support along the way. Okay, it's important to you to know that you have community along the way, that you have to do everything completely on your own. That is not good long-term for anyone. Okay, then we have, wow, look at this. Okay, so we have the Angel of Wisdom. So wisdom comes from the depths of my experience. So this is really beautiful. It's a good reminder, and it's true. The more experiences we have, and then going back to, the opening card we had here of like, the wisdom we have comes from like our willingness to grow and change and be different and have different things happen for us. And so if you do have different experiences, if you do have things going on for you that feel like, I am growing and changing from this, right? The wisdom is what you take away from that. So the dreamer of the dream, again, in the beginning, what we were talking about of, you can create a new dream for yourself. You can tell a new story. And sometimes our dreams get fine-tuned from experiences we have in life, right? There's certain things we wouldn't know we wanted unless these other things had happened to us, for us, with this. So just remembering that, you can take these situations, these things that happen to you, again, not to romanticize them or be like, I'm so glad that happened, right? But sometimes it does take our boundaries being crossed or these situations that don't feel the best for us to be like, okay, I deserve some patience and love and care for myself. And how can I give that to myself? What can I do? And then we have the card, let go of anxiety, lavender, calm your nerves, and you'll be able to hear the voice of your angels. So, okay, this I feel like could be worded a little better because I don't want to sound crass here and just be like, oh, you have anxiety, let it go, right? Sometimes anxiety is uncontrollable and we cannot just like let it go, right? It's not, there are certain times where we do have like very real mental health things going on. So that's not what I'm saying at all. I don't want that to be the message you're getting at all. But let go of anxiety can just, it's just more of understanding that Sometimes when we get really like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I think nervous would be the better word to use, right? Like, I'm so nervous, right? You can remind her to be like, okay, I can trust myself. I can trust in my higher power. I can trust something's going on for me. I can trust with all of that, right? So just kind of calming yourself down, soothing yourself. How can I soothe myself? Do I know what's in my self-soothing technique basket that works for me, right? Things that work for me might not work for everyone else, but like, do you know how to self-soothe? Do you know how to connect to energy? Do you know how to, just offer yourself like calming, gentle energy? For some people, it's like a sound bath. Some people it's going for a walk. Some people it's drinking a cup of hot tea. Some people it's taking a bath. Some people it's like hugging yourself, affirmations, right? Deep breathing, anything like that. Do you have these things in your toolkit to like help you self-soothe? Praying, of course, big one I love. And then the last card is whole and complete. So I feel like this is a reminder that you are whole and complete already. You always have been, always will be. And this is just a reminder that, as your dreams change and things fall away, and sometimes it doesn't feel the best, and it's just like, why do I have to let this thing go? Just remember, like, anything you lose or takes a different shape in physical reality, right? That doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It doesn't mean you lost part of yourself. It just means that, these things are nothing is permanent in this world. And these things that we get so invested in and so whatever, right? We think it's going to be like this, and this way. And then it's just not. And so this whole and complete is just a reminder that, anything that exits your life, like, doesn't change that you are whole and complete on your own, doesn't change that you are like, um, a whole person who is still deserving of your own love and care from yourself along the way. So whole and complete is a reminder that, especially when I was just talking about getting help from other people, it doesn't make you any less whole or complete if you trust people to support you in your process with things. Okay, we'll close the one affirmation card for you guys, group 2. I am open and receptive to love. Okay, I think you can report this with anything. So it's not just love, but it could be like to care, to being supported, to kindness, to gentleness, whatever word you want to use, right? This is all really helpful and good to say to ourselves, because sometimes, again, we don't realize the ways that we're like shut down. So I'm open and receptive to care, to help, to support, to whatever, right? And so sometimes when we just do that, it's safe for me to be open to these things. It can open us up maybe in a way that we hadn't been just a little bit ago. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. Welcome for everyone who picked group number 3. So as a reminder, this is a new moon reading. So I'll be reading the cards in that way in terms of like new energy, thinking about new ways, all that. Okay, so you all pick the card. My happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. So for me, I would change this to say my peace, my inner peace, is a direct reflection of my level of faith in God. Obviously, use whatever words feel right for you, but for me personally, that's what feels better. So that's how I'm going to talk about it. But yeah, my inner peace. I think happiness is like a fleeting thing. It can come and go, but I think when people want happiness, what we're really looking for is like this inner peace and stability and safety, and happiness and joy can come from that. But peace, is really like the more anchoring, stable energy than happiness. And so, but anyway, besides that, this is a very good affirmation because, sometimes we can be like, things didn't go my way, or it was supposed to be like this, or it was supposed to be this specific thing, or it was supposed to, whatever the story is. And then we just get so worked up, and then we find out the next day, the next week, the next month, next year, next 5 years, whatever, of just like, oh, actually, that's why it had to be this way. I'm so thankful it didn't go my way. I'm so thankful that whatever, so it just basically comes down to like pretty much all of our discomfort comes down to like, how much do I trust God? How much do I have faith in God of things that I can't control, right? Like, it is about being responsible for ourselves and knowing what we are responsible within ourselves. But also it's important to remember that, so it's like fun to be like, I trust God, right? But when we actually have to do that, sometimes it's not so fun anymore, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, this feels bad. This feels really uncomfortable. I don't like sitting with this discomfort feeling. I have no idea why it would be this way, right? But it's just like, if I really have faith in God, can I lean into that? Can I really believe that, like, okay, like, tests and hardship are part of life? Doesn't mean something's wrong with me, right? If you're like, oh, why would this happen to me? No one has ever been on this earth who has not been tested in some way, shape, or form, or challenged, or gone through some form of hardship. Okay, so making our own suffering special doesn't really help anyone. I get why we do it. It's a defense mechanism, and so it's not about shaming yourself for it, but it is just more about like, okay, if I'm noticing I'm doing that, what can I do to release this and have faith? Like, I trust God. I surrender this to God. I release it. I know I'm being protected. I know I'm on a path. With our human minds, we can't see the whole big picture of everything. And so we get so caught up in all of these things, right? So just remembering that, like, the more faith you have, it's easier to tap into that inner peace and be like, okay, I might not know what's going on, but I can give myself some grace and compassion and kindness and lean into that. I can connect to my God. I can, all of those things, instead of feeling like, like you're not, like this is punishment or this is whatever, right? It's like, it just comes down to how much you trust God, over and over and over again, which again, easier said than done, sometimes not super fun. And that doesn't mean like, you bypass any like anger or any human feelings that come up with like deep change or uncomfortable, unfortunate, upsetting situations, right? But it is just about like, okay, if I have this human experience to it, now what's going on? And also some things are just part of like the mystery of life. Some things are just things that happen and they're just there to teach us detachment. Okay. It doesn't mean we romanticize them and we're like, I learned this thing from this tragedy in my life, right? Sometimes it is just about being like, I'm not in control of everything. And I've learned that I learned to feel my feelings better through this. I learned to give myself grace and compassion and gentleness, right? Like that's so many things can be happening from a situation. It's not just you know, just to romanticize like unfortunate things happening in life. Like, of course, that's not what we're talking about. Okay. I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you guys. I just want to say thank you to anyone who has been on my channel. If you've been here before, if you like, comment, subscribe, it really means a lot to me. Anytime I see any of those things happen. So thank you so much. And if you've watched any of my videos previously, you know that I typically pull the cards in advance for these longer tarot readings on the new moon and the full moon. I don't choose them, but I pick them in advance. But this is a reminder. What I'm doing for this year, what I want to try is I'm just going to pull the tarot cards live for you guys, see how it goes. I picked the oracle cards in advance, but for tarot, I'm going to pull them right now for you. So just doing something a little different if you've been here before. And again, just want to say thank everyone for the support, whatever it's been like, whatever way you've shown that to me, it really means a lot to me. So thank you. Okay, so group 3, opening your reading, we have the 5 of Swords, 8 of Cups, and the Sun. So yeah, I feel like there is a new day that comes. A 5 of Swords, sometimes people can think this means like deception or being lied to, or like not everything can come with you, like finding out new information about like, okay, this can't keep happening anymore, right? And then so sometimes when life hands us something or something happens that's out of our control, that doesn't feel the best, that is like really challenging to like our beliefs about ourselves or something we really had relied on or thought, okay, this is the truth, right? Sometimes when that gets challenged, that can be a catalyst for us to do something different. And again, it's not saying that we love it, we want more of it, we whatever, right? It's just saying this is what happens. And then this 8 of Cups is just, knowing sometimes we have to walk away from things. Things are painful. There are things that happen in life that we wouldn't wish, but we know we wouldn't wish for them to happen, but we still have to deal with them, right? Things are brought to us, things happen. There's so much things out of our control and they happen, and we still have to deal with them. We still have to show up. We still have to be brave. We still have to continue on with our life, right? And so this 8 of Cups is a reminder that it's okay to feel sadness. It's okay to feel like even if you're choosing to walk away from something, or you have to make a choice in response to like an unfortunate or unideal situation, doing that it's okay if the right choice still feels sad. It's okay if the right choice still feels unfair, still feels like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to go through this? Again, that's part of life, and not like minimizing it or, anything like that. But it's just knowing that sometimes, we do have to make a choice, that not everything goes our way all the time. Sometimes we do have to make choices that don't feel the best, and those include, leaving a situation, walking away from something, feeling lost with all of that. But I think this is so beautiful. These three cards, ending them in the sun, which is, like this cute little babies on there, right? But it's also about like, it's the new dawn, it's the new day. No matter how long the clouds have been up, it's been raining, the sun will always come out eventually. Things always change, nothing lasts forever. And so this is just remembering that there will be a new day eventually, and how we get there is by feeling our feelings and by not avoiding, right? If you keep trying not to deal with it, if you keep trying to get to the, keep trying to move forward without looking inward and be like, oh, what is happening, right? Then you're never gonna, well, I mean, you might get to the other side, but it's gonna come up eventually, right? If you keep ignoring it, you're going to have to deal with it eventually. So this is just a reminder that there is a new day that comes, things do change, we can get to the other side eventually with all of this stuff. So the sun is about, remembering that there can be a new dawn. The sun will come out tomorrow, right? There can be something that comes from deep, deep despair and sadness. Again, not to the point where we're like, wow, I'm so glad that happened. You don't have to get there, right? But there is the choice of doing this work and the inner work and looking at it. Even just the willingness to do that communicates that you love and respect yourself to yourself. So again, it's not about like avoiding hardship. There's no escaping unpleasant experiences in life. Again, that's just part of life. But it is about continuing to move forward and trying to find your way, find your footing, anchoring that stability within yourself and within God as you move through life. Okay, then we have the Page of Cups in reverse, Judgment, and the Magician. So I feel like something happened that was a little surprising, but now. Okay, so I feel like whatever group 3, whatever's going on for you that you were kind of like in denial about, or like, I don't really want to deal with this, or I can't believe this is my life, I can't believe, whatever. This is saying like it's time to tell a new story about that. And again, I know we can't push ourselves faster than we can go, and it's not about ignoring or bypassing, but there gets a point where we're the only one holding on to something, and it's time to let it go. Okay, and then what I'm hearing with this Judgment card is sometimes we can't let something go because we don't feel justified, or we don't feel like, well, I had to go through all this and the other person, blah, blah, whatever. Just remember that the angels keep perfect books. God keeps perfect books. There's perfect balance here. And even if it's just when we die, the person has to face what they've dealt with, right? But can also know that, you keeping a clean heart and a clean conscience is beneficial for you anyway, because it gives you peace, right? Integrity is its own reward. Doing something, controlling how you act, or if you didn't act in the best way, if you stepped out of your integrity, making amends, being kind, all of those things soothe the soul. And so this is really saying to me that like, don't focus on someone else's actions, just look at yourself. And again, not in a way that's like dismissive if they affected you, obviously, but we can't control anyone else. And so this is a reminder that like, you will be asked about yourself, right? Your energy is yours to deal with, to look at, how am I acting? What am I doing? How am I living, right? And sometimes doing things in integrity don't result in like getting things in physical reality. Okay, again, this is a world we live in where things just don't result in like this or that sometimes. Sometimes they do, but just knowing like, don't look at physical reality proof to be like, oh, I'm doing a good thing or not. Because then we have the Magician, which again is a reminder that sometimes we go through situations that are triggering to us, as a reminder that like, okay, how can I control myself in this situation? What can I do? What can I say? What feels like the right thing? What, whatever, right? This is a reminder that we do have a choice. We can't control anyone else, but we are in charge of how we respond to things. We are in charge of, setting boundaries, saying no, of, not being talked out of what we feel is our truth inside of us. And again, not in a way that like hurts other people or harms them, but just as a way that's like, okay, what is my agency here and my role here? So, sometimes it is, we have shock and denial about things, but it's like, okay, what am I going to do with that now that I'm here? And if I can't control anyone else, I can't control the situation, if it's out of my hands, what am I going to do with that? So just remembering, this is the facts. This is what happened. What can I do with myself? How can I show up with something new I need to do for myself to be able to like get to the other side of this, and be able to like, really feel like I did it. And this is, what would I be proud? How would I be proud I say I acted? How is respecting myself? What does that look like? I'm really trying to like focus in on that. Okay, and then the last set of cards we have for you guys is the King of Pentacles, Temperance, and the Six of Cups. Wow, how beautiful. What beautiful three cards together here. Okay, so this King of Pentacles is about like, you know, a lot of mastery of self and like a lot of connection between like walking the walk and talking the talk, right? There's a lot of things going on here. When we live in integrity, right? That's people who live in integrity tend to have like the stability around their lives of just because it's rooted in like, I'm not hiding anything. I'm not doing anything to like trick people or tease people or anything like that, right? Like what you see is what you get. So it's like very mature energy. And so what I'm hearing is like, the more you control your actions and decide like, okay, you know, this is something I can do for myself. This is a way that I can show up for myself. This is a way I can do something that feels like, you know, me being living in integrity with myself, doing these things, all of that. And then when you do that, like this Temperance card is about balancing out, is about, you know, putting your feet on the ground again, refilling up your own cup, right? The more you act with integrity and control your own actions and say, okay, this is what I can do to be responsible for myself, the more like our soul balances out and the more we feel this stability and this clarity and like showing up for ourselves, right? And then the Six of Cups is about, you know, this beautiful inner child energy. And so sometimes those of us, the chaos we create in our lives as adults can, not always, but sometimes can be a connection to maybe some chaos we felt as a child. So it's like the more that you match your words, your beliefs, your actions, the more all of those kind of reflect each other, then the easier it is for us to be like, I'm safe now. It's okay for me to trust myself. It's okay for me to feel balance and nourishment in my life with this Temperance card when I do that. So this is a reminder that, you know, while you're having faith, like the saying, hold on, let me remember it. Keep praying to God while you swim to shore, right? So this is the beginning, right? Is about like my level of faith is how much I trust God. But that doesn't mean that you just like sit in your room and do nothing and never try to push yourself or do, you know, be responsible for yourself, examine your behavior, make amends. Like that's not what this is saying. This is saying it's important for you to have faith in God, but also do your part. You need to connect these two things. You need to get clear about the ways that they go together and get clear about the ways that, you know, what can I do to take responsibility for myself, not in a way that feels like, again, blaming yourself or anything, but just saying like, this is what happened. What am I going to do with it? Right. So this is really saying when you, sometimes it can seem like we don't want to go there, but it is actually very healing for us to be like, okay, this is what I'm in control of. This is what I can do in my life to show myself that I am committed to, you know, creating this balance and stability in my life. And again, that doesn't mean everything is like so easy and I just fix it and blah, right? It can be simple, but simple and easy aren't the same thing. Okay, let me look at your oracle cards. Okay. So the answer is in the silence is the first one. So I feel like this is, you know, sometimes when we're going through a hard time or we're trying to figure something out or what we want to do next, right? The answer is in the silence is a reminder like, okay, I did all my actions, but can I, you know, it's great if you can do all these external things, but can you sit with yourself for 5 minutes and do deep breathing and just try to calm, right? Can you pray? You know, I've often heard praying is like talking to God and meditating is listening to God, right? So can you sit with yourself in silence? Can you just, you know, really tune in and be like, what do I need to give myself? What is here? What am I hearing? What's the guidance, right? Sometimes it's crystal clear, like gut, I can hear it, no problem. Sometimes it's just like a small nudging, right? But there's a lot of times where if we don't go inward, it's so easy for us to miss all this stuff. So the answer is in the silence. That's spending time with yourself, maybe going for a walk, journaling, praying, meditating, anything like that, where we just turn off some of this noise and instead try to connect to ourselves. There's so, especially with social media now, with everything, it's so, you could watch content 24 hours a day straight, literally, if you wanted, and not spend any time with yourself at all. So do you know how to have intimacy with yourself? Do you know how to connect to yourself? Do you know how to like, um, you know, just be gentle with yourself? You know how to ask yourself questions and identify what you're feeling. You know, you can pull up, if you just search like a feeling wheel, right? It can tell you, okay, do I know how to identify what I'm feeling? Here's a bunch of feelings. You know, most of us aren't taught this. And so it takes some time for us to sit with ourselves, to be comfortable with that, to, you know, really connect to some of these feelings instead of feeling like, oh, the answer is outside of me, right? It's good to get information, to filter it through, to figure out, what we want to do, but which information actually feels right to you and which is just like noise. And some stuff that feels right to you for a time, but then, you let it go. And you move on to the next thing that works for you, right? Because only you know what it feels like in your own body, with your own soul, with your own self. Okay, and then the next card is we have peer pressure, the primrose flower. Don't let others coerce you into a decision. You know in your heart what the right choice is. So this is exactly what I was talking about. When we grow and change and have to do things for ourselves, it's really easy, especially if like we don't see it reflected to ourselves in our friendships of like, this is the right thing for me, this is not the right thing for me, this is, whatever. But don't let others coerce you into a decision. You know in your heart what the right choice is. You could find communities, teachers, schools of thought to support anything you want to believe in this world, literally. Like there's people for it. Again, with the internet, it's amazing. We have access to so many things. Okay. This is a reminder that you could find that support for whatever, but you want to make sure, again, it's different. Like there's information gathering, but you want to make sure that what you're choosing to believe is because you believe it, not because if I believe it, I think I'll get this, this, and this thing, right? Does it resonate within your own heart? Does it feel true to you? Does it feel connected to you? And sometimes we grow out of certain things. Sometimes we thought I believed in this, but turns out I didn't, and I believe in this more, right? But so this is a reminder to trust your own heart. And again, when you are silent with yourself, when you do connect to that, that is like what is so important for you, to connect to that and be able to hold space for that. And then we have the angel of the miracle of love. I am brought alive by the miracle of love. So again, sometimes people substitute the word love for God. So I would say, that's what the language I would use in this card, the angel of the miracle of God. So I'm brought alive by the miracle of God, or just by God. Just remembering that, like, again, you don't have to do anything on your own. God never leaves. God is always right here. And we get so confused, like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do whatever, right? Just remember, like, you can't do it by yourself. You have to tap into that strength that comes from that connection to a higher power or something bigger than ourselves to be able to get there. And so just remembering, whenever we feel like, what do I do? How do I do this? Right? Turn inward, ask for help, go for a walk, pray, journal, ask for guidance, like stop trying to do everything all on your own. It's like, hasn't worked before and it's not going to work in the future. So again, just really connecting to that and, holding space for that. Okay, I'm going to close with one affirmation for you. I live in a friendly universe. So this is really beautiful. It reminds me of I think it's Albert Einstein quote. I hope, apologies if it's not, but it's, the most important decision we make is if we live in a hostile or a friendly universe, right? And again, so this can be the thing, really good full circle energy here of like, are these things happening to punish me? Are they happening because God is smarter than me? And these things are, leading me to something beyond myself, right? So just, remind yourself that you live in a place that life loves you. It's not to punish you. It's not to harm you. It's just there's some things that are part of this human experience that don't feel the best. And that's okay. But we live in a friendly universe. There are friendly people. You can be a friend to yourself. God is gentle and kind, right? So I live in a friendly universe as a reminder, like, can you tap into some of that and like hold space for yourself there? Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.